Its financial guidance for 2003 through 2005 due to pricing pressures. So are there any healthy telecom companies worth adding to your portfolio? Joining us is Todd Rosenbluth. He's with Wireline Communications Analyst at Standard & Poor's in New York. Todd, thanks very much for taking the time. And I guess that fundamental question, what healthy telecom companies out there do you like?
Well, we are recommending investors take a negative stance on the overall wireline industry. Hello, we do favor Alltel, the ticker is AT, it's a rural service provider, and Commonwealth Telephone, CTCO, another rural service provider. It's not facing the same competitive environment that the baby bells such as Verizon and SBC are facing. There's less wireless substitution, there's less cable competition, and we think the earnings quality is stronger there than at the bells or the long-distance carriers.
Yeah, what other issues are the bells facing as well? I noticed in your notes that you're, down on the wire lines. You have a void on a lot of those folks. I mean, what other issues are they facing?
Well, the baby bells, Verizon, SBC, Bell South, are moving into the long-distance territory that AT&T and Sprint and MCI have dominated, and it's going the other way as well. AT&T has moved into the local market, MCI has moved into the local market, and Sprint and a couple other players are starting to move in there. So they're all fighting for the same local customers and long-distance customers. Meanwhile, wireless substitution has been happening. You can get 600, 800 minutes for $39.99 right now, and a lot of people are substituting their local and long-distance calls with their cell phones. So that's impacting the companies as well.
And this obviously is a business that's become tremendously fragmented. What are there some smaller companies out there that serve maybe out-of-the-way places that offer nice opportunities for investors?
Yeah, one of the ones we mentioned to start off with, Commonwealth Telephone. It operates in Pennsylvania. It's a very mountainous region out there. There is almost no wireless substitution, as when you drive around there, you just can't get reception. So while Verizon and SBC are fighting off competition from the six wireless carriers, Commonwealth almost has a large market to themselves. There's no one in that market that they're competing with, and they're rolling out new services to those customers. So we think that's got upside potential, and Standard & Poor's has an accumulate recommendation on Commonwealth Telephone.
Where does the overall business stand in relation to an economic recovery? I mean, will this be something that kind of rides along with it or lagging?
Standard & Poor's thinks it's going to lag the economic recovery. As you mentioned on an earlier segment, the jobless rate has continued to be weak. Companies first need to hire their employees back, expand their payrolls, and then turn the phones back on before we think traffic's going to increase back to the levels it used to have. So we think it's going to underperform the market on at least by the next 6 months, and suggest investors either sell companies such as SBC Communications and avoid other bells such as Verizon and Bell South and Quest, and focus more on the safer plays like Alltel and Commonwealth.
Hey, Todd, is it possible to give us an overview of the balance sheets of a lot of these folks? I mean, obviously overcapacity, pricing pressures, but generally speaking, over the last couple of years, they've wrung a lot out of these companies. I mean, where is the general state of balance sheets?
It's started to improve. The company's been paying down their debt. They've been using their free cash flow for that and to pay back some dividend, as they haven't been investing in the capital spending part of the business. And they haven't been able to launch new products as there isn't demand for it. So the balance sheets, from an equity analyst perspective, we think are improving, but it's not enough reason for people to start buying the stocks.
All right, Todd, great insights. We appreciate you taking the time. That, again,
our pleasure.
Is Todd Rosenbluth with Standard & Poor's. Well, coming up, Microsoft makes dramatic changes in the way they compensate employees.